details, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of The Mediator with me, your host, Brian West, here to give you the top 8 headlines and developing news stories that made it in this week. Now, as usual, I'll give you the top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that made it in first. Then we may do a movie clip, a skit, or something that's going on in the community, or a trailer. And then I'll give you the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories that made it in this week. So let's waste no time. Let's get to it. Story number 1. A lot of people in the Valley believe in alternative healing outside of traditional medicine. Tim Roddy and James Sherman are 2 residents in the Valley that have suffered with back pain and chose to find another way to be healed. Like many, they were left with no choice but to take matters into their own hands after medicine didn't work. James turned to herbal medicine and Tim turned to holistic treatment, meditation. Each say they are seeing results. This story highlights the growing concerns that a lot of people have with traditional techniques used by the medical industry. The story is still developing. Story number 2. Why do some local residents feel cheated out of their dreams? The Valley has a lot of skilled talent and innovative thinkers, but many local residents feel they've had some shady deals on the road to success and failure. Stories of tax conspiracies, money laundering, corrupt officials, con artists, price gouging, abuse, and many other stories highlight the silent voices of those affected by the system that they so much trust with their dreams. This story made it in due to the growing concern that people face when it comes to depression and suicidal thoughts that haunt those who feel they haven't reached their fullest potential. This is another big developing story. Story number 3. Less people riding the WRTA bus is not good. Transportation is important in every city because it is provided to assist those who need it. WRTA has had a big decrease in riders due to COVID-19. This story made it into the top 8 because it highlights the lasting effect that COVID-19 has had on the city. Like anything provided, if it's not used, it could be dissolved. This is another big story to keep an eye on. Story number 4. Defamation remains a huge concern for those seeking their higher calling. Behind the scenes, when the curtain closes, there are a lot of people concerned about their reputation, and when things go wrong, some are left jobless and judged on their path to redemption. There have been numerous headlines highlighting the concerns that some local officials have when it comes to their reputations. Stories about lawsuits filed by a former school superintendent and a firefighter who is suing the drug task force highlight the growing concerns surrounding this issue. The story is still developing. Story number 5. The new Youngstown amphitheater is just sitting idle. With the spread of COVID-19, the new amphitheater is sitting in downtown Youngstown waiting for the COVID-19 raft to be over. COVID-19 has left the amphitheater with no shows since February. The theater had high hopes and a lot of speculation when it was built, but with no shows, it defeats the purpose of the venue itself. Operation managers are showing a lot of frustration with state officials in the decisions to shut down the state, which has affected their business. This story is another story that is still developing. Story number 6. Does it matter that Governor DeWine took a paycheck protection loan? Big story. The PPP loans were designed to rescue and aid small businesses and their employees, but a lot of high-level officials received loans for their businesses along with some big-time celebrities. Although the actions were legal, the program, like many other government programs and laws, are designed to make the system fair. It matters because there are a lot of small business owners struggling, and there was only so much money available to be loaned out. There is still money left. Some people may have to apply, but you can talk to your local accountant or your CPA to get advice. They may offer the service for a small fee to apply for the loans. Story number 7 and the top 2 local headlines and developing news stories that made it in this week. People are dying harsh deaths here locally. Burning in vehicles, executions, overdoses, and even suicides highlight the need for some spiritual healing here locally. Now that COVID-19 has become a problem, many local residents are still concerned about not only their health but their safety. This story highlights the growing need for local residents to avoid conflict as hot summers and hidden secrets often result in an increase in the city's homicide rates. This is another story that highlights what happens in inner city life and how it is making big news. Story number 8 in the top local headline and developing news story that made it in this week. Mixed opinions about opening schools in the fall. A lot of mixed opinions. Numerous headlines have been circulating on how to reopen schools in the fall, but there is still no solid plan. As this story develops, parents, teachers, and even the president have tried to find solutions to the growing concerns of reopening schools in the fall. So far, it looks like online classes, homeschooling, and limited school access, along with protective measures, may be the answer. This is another big story that is still developing. Well, those are our top 8 local headlines and developing news stories that made in this week. I'll be right back with the top 8 international headlines and developing news stories. Don't go anywhere. You're in the Mediator with me, Brian West. I'll be right back.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
If you want to check out the stories that almost made it in or did make it in, go to our Twitter feed on our website. Check out everything. All of the sources are there. And go to the website. It's method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program.